think it's very important when you have the best players in the world together. You got to compete, and you got to play hard, and you got to show the fans how good they really are. I watch them all the time. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark play about the same last year.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Basketball Zone X. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today I've got another exciting and highly interesting video for you, and if you're a true Caitlin Clark fan, you're definitely going to want to watch this one until the very end. Before we get started, let me know you're part of the Clark fan community by commenting *CC100 per instance below. I love seeing all the amazing Clark fans in the comments. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into today's video. That's how this story begins, not with a press conference or a leaked memo, but with a private meeting that has sparked enormous speculation. According to the story, three major basketball figures, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and none other than Larry Bird, were reportedly connected to a meeting at the Pacers facility in Indiana. No cameras, no reporters, just whispers, and those whispers have quickly turned into widespread speculation. Fans are demanding answers, people are talking, and basketball executives are paying attention. What could possibly bring together a young WNBA star, a veteran with a strong personality, and one of the greatest players in basketball history? The reaction has been enormous, and some believe the situation could have major implications for the sport. Clark is no stranger to attention after her historic rookie season, but this isn't about highlights or buzzer beaters. The speculation is about influence, power, legacy, and the future of women's basketball. Sophie Cunningham has always been known for playing with passion and speaking her mind, while Larry Bird remains one of basketball's most iconic figures, despite keeping a relatively low profile in recent years. Whether this reported connection means something bigger or is simply being exaggerated online, it's certainly a story that has fans asking questions. At that moment, the basketball world seemed to come to a complete stop. If all three were truly in the same room, it would be more than just an ordinary meeting. It would immediately spark questions about what could possibly bring them together. What could unite Clark, Cunningham, and Larry Bird? Could it be a mentorship project, a league initiative, or even a broader collaboration between different levels of basketball? There has been plenty of speculation, but nothing has officially confirmed what such a meeting would mean. What is clear, however, is that Caitlin Clark's rise has been remarkable. She didn't simply enter the WNBA, she became one of the league's biggest sources of attention almost overnight. Attendance increased, viewership surged, and her merchandise became a major part of the conversation. But her impact goes beyond statistics, highlights, and three-point shooting. When Clark plays, her arenas fill with energy, fans rally around her, and a new generation of basketball supporters has become deeply invested in the sport. From her college days at Iowa to her time with the Indiana Fever, Clark's name has become closely connected with the growth and visibility of women's basketball. Whether or not the rumored meeting represents something bigger, one thing is undeniable: Caitlin Clark has become a major figure in a new era of attention for the WNBA. ESPN treated Clark like a major NBA-level star, with networks adjusting programming around her games and audiences turning out in numbers the WNBA had rarely experienced before. Her influence also extended beyond the court. Major brands such as Gatorade, Nike, and Beats recognized her marketability, while her growing popularity helped bring unprecedented attention to women's basketball. Behind the scenes, the league and its business partners began adapting to the increased interest, with broadcasters, sponsors, and executives recognizing the potential for long-term growth. Clark didn't enter the WNBA demanding reform. Her impact created pressure for the league to evolve. She attracted fans who had never followed the WNBA, inspired young athletes, and helped elevate the visibility of players across the league. That's why the idea of Clark being involved in a private meeting at the Pacers facility has generated so much speculation. She isn't simply part of the future conversation surrounding women's basketball, she has become one of its most influential figures. Now, let's talk about Sophie Cunningham, the wild card. If Caitlin Clark is the spark, Cunningham brings the fuel. After spending years in the WNBA with the Phoenix Mercury, Cunningham has built a reputation for playing with toughness, passion, and confidence. She's the type of player who will sacrifice her body for a loose ball and then speak her mind afterward. More importantly, when Cunningham talks, people listen. Her voice has become part of conversations surrounding player compensation, locker room conditions, respect, and the overall treatment of WNBA athletes. Now she's sitting at the table with legends, and the question is, why her? Because of her willingness to speak up, even when the cameras aren't rolling, Cunningham has shown that she's comfortable questioning the system and expressing her views. Her presence also adds a different kind of credibility. She's not simply a media personality or a polished corporate figure. She's known for being direct, competitive, and authentic. That's why, if she were involved in a larger project, it would naturally attract attention. Her career has also given her experience with the issues players face, from compensation and working conditions to player representation and advocacy. A meeting involving Cunningham, Clark, and Bird could therefore represent a potential bridge between different generations of basketball. Then there's Larry Bird, the Indiana icon, three-time NBA champion, three-time MVP, and one of the most influential figures in basketball history. But if Bird were involved in something like this, it wouldn't simply be about showcasing his resume. His influence extends beyond his playing career. As an executive and basketball decision-maker, he helped shape organizations, evaluate talent, build teams, and mentor players. His connection to Indiana basketball makes any reported involvement especially intriguing. But the biggest question remains, why now? Why would a legendary figure who has largely stayed out of the spotlight suddenly become connected to a story involving Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham? Until there is confirmation, we can only speculate, but that's exactly what has fans paying attention. It could be crucial to the bigger picture. Caitlin Clark represents the new generation, while Larry Bird represents one of basketball's most influential eras. If Bird were genuinely involved, his experience could potentially help connect old-school basketball values with the modern game. His presence wouldn't necessarily be ceremonial. It could carry significant symbolic and strategic weight. Imagine Bird mentoring Clark on handling fame, building relationships, understanding leadership, and creating a lasting legacy. That would be bigger than ordinary mentorship. It would represent one generation of basketball passing knowledge to another. And with Cunningham potentially adding another perspective, the combination would certainly be intriguing. There is also something fitting about this story being connected to Indiana, a state where basketball has deep cultural roots. Clark has become the face of the Indiana Fever, Cunningham has strong basketball connections throughout the Midwest, and Bird remains one of Indiana's most recognizable basketball legends. But whether this is truly the beginning of something bigger or simply speculations surrounding a reported meeting remains unknown. For now, there is no confirmed evidence of a secret blueprint to unite basketball across leagues. Still, the idea is powerful. Different generations, different experiences, and different parts of the basketball world potentially coming together in Indiana. And if something meaningful really is being developed behind the scenes, fans will be watching closely to see what comes next. That blueprint would go far beyond sponsorships, ratings, or luxury. The broader theory is about changing how professional basketball operates and creating stronger connections between the NBA and WNBA. Imagine a system where players from both leagues train together, young athletes have access to similar resources, and basketball development programs provide opportunities for both boys and girls. Some speculation has even suggested that mentorship, training academies, media platforms, and development programs could eventually involve legends and current stars from both sides of the sport. If Larry Bird were involved, his experience and extensive basketball connections could potentially help open doors to new partnerships. Cunningham could bring the perspective of an active player and advocate, particularly on issues such as player representation, compensation, retirement planning, mental health, and working conditions. Clark, meanwhile, would represent the younger generation and one of the most recognizable stars in women's basketball. Her influence could help connect established basketball institutions with a new generation of fans and athletes. At the same time, social media speculation surrounding a reported meeting has continued to grow, with fans demanding more information about what, if anything, is actually being planned. However, there is currently no confirmed evidence of a secret organization, fully funded joint program, or upcoming live announcement involving these three. Until reliable information emerges, those ideas remain speculation. But if something substantial really is being developed behind the scenes, the basketball world will be watching closely. During a televised debut, the three could potentially present their vision, explain their goals, and invite the broader basketball community to get involved. What would happen if more major names eventually joined the conversation? Imagine figures such as Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, or even LeBron James becoming part of a larger initiative. When influential basketball figures come together, the potential impact becomes much greater. But for now, that's only a possibility, not a confirmed plan. At its core, this remains a story about influence and what could happen when people from different generations of basketball share a common vision. The idea would be to challenge outdated structures, create new opportunities, and build stronger connections across the sport. Such an initiative could certainly challenge the status quo and force basketball organizations to think differently, and that's part of what makes the speculation so fascinating. The possibility of transformation can sometimes become bigger than the original story itself. If Clark, Cunningham, and Bird were actually working together on something meaningful, the impact could potentially reach beyond professional basketball and into youth programs, player development, and communities around the country. But until the details are confirmed, it's important to separate the exciting possibilities from established facts. For now, fans are left waiting to see whether this reported connection becomes something real or simply another viral basketball rumor. If an official announcement eventually comes, the entire conversation could change instantly. And if that happens, the basketball world will be watching every step of the way. Basketball fans, get ready for a story that could make headlines if the speculation surrounding it turns out to be true. So, what's the big deal? What's actually happening? Some insiders have suggested the possibility of a mentorship program, while others have speculated about cross-league training facilities, media platforms, or even new business ventures. Whatever the reality may be, the idea is certainly ambitious, bringing men's and women's basketball closer together in ways we haven't seen before. Imagine Larry Bird's experience, Caitlin Clark's influence, and Sophie Cunningham's perspective combining to create new opportunities across the sport. The possibilities could include joint development programs, cross-league workshops, shared media projects, or initiatives designed to connect different generations of basketball players and fans. With so much attention already surrounding the story, networks, brands, and fans would naturally be watching closely for any official announcement. But it's important to remember that these ideas remain speculation until the people involved confirm them. The bigger question is whether this reported connection could eventually become something much more significant. Could it help shape the future of basketball? Could it create new opportunities for both men's and women's players? And could Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Larry Bird actually play a role in that future? We don't have those answers yet, but we'll continue following the story as new information becomes available. If you're interested in the future of basketball, hit the like button, share your theories in the comments, and subscribe for more updates. What do you think Clark, Cunningham, and Bird could be working on? For now, all we can do is separate the confirmed facts from the speculation and wait to see what comes next.